Hello everybody and welcome back for the weekly VR news. As always, I'm Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. Today's episode is absolutely packed. We have plenty of new game announcements, game updates, and even a leak of the Quest 3. I'm pretty pumped to get into this. I'm not going to waste your time. There are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but before we jump in, this video is brought to you by my sponsor Kiwi Design. Have you added about 15 accessories to your Quest 2 and it no longer fits in the official case? Well, don't worry because Kiwi has you covered. Kiwi's brand new carrying case guarantees to fit 9 accessories. There's pockets for extra cables, an ample amount of padding, and a hard exterior to help protect your device, plus a nice sleek black water resistant design. There's a link in the description to their website, and don't forget to use discount code Mateo311 for 5% off and to help support my channel. Okay, so let's start this video off like normal with my check-in, and that is what exactly have I been up to? Well, I'm preparing my review for Crossfire Sierra Squad. I'm very excited to show you guys that. But on top of that, I really haven't been doing anything else because I've been on vacation. So I'm rejuvenated, back, ready for some action, a little bit more tan than normal, and it looks like a lot has actually transpired this week, with plenty of new game announcements, and the first one is a brand new VR platformer from the developers of Richie's Plank Experience. Max Mustard is being described as a next-gen VR platformer, and I have to say it is looking pretty damn good. I was a huge fan of Astrobot Rescue Mission, and it looks like they took some inspiration from that title. The game's listed as coming soon, and I'll make sure to keep you guys updated on this one. Now, for those of you who enjoy more interactive stories, we got some updates on the Pirate Queen. Based on real-world events and starring Lucy Liu, you'll be going back to the early 1800s and taking on the role of a woman who took over her husband's career as a pirate. So if you're looking for a deeper storyline in your VR titles, make sure to keep your eye on this one. And that's all of today's new game announcements, but I am releasing a video on Wednesday which will go over all the new games coming in September. This includes the PlayStation VR 2, PC VR, Quest, and even Pico 4. So if you're looking for what new games are going to be out in the near future, come back Wednesday and check out that video. Now, the game news isn't over just yet though, because we have plenty of additional updates, starting with the introduction of a co-op mode for Hellsweeper VR. Now, if you're not familiar with Hellsweeper, it's the highly anticipated action roguelike filled with brutal combat and some mature themes. It's from the same developers that gave us Sorrento, and now they're upping the ante with even more intense combat and both weapons and skills designed specifically for VR. I was already pumped for this game, but now it's looking even better than ever, since you could bring a friend along for the action. Now, next up, we actually have an update for Half-Life 2. This is basically the RTX remaster, where the graphics are completely redone by Nvidia's software. Now, the only reason why I'm mentioning this in the VR news is because Half-Life 2 has an absolutely amazing flat to VR mod. Now, even though I think the graphics are still better than most VR games coming out today, if you felt like they were dated, you should soon be able to experience this title with a major graphics overhaul. But let's move on to a tease from Fast Travel Games. The publishers that brought us many exciting games like Cities VR, Ghost Signal: A Solaris Story, and the upcoming Vampire the Masquerade Justice are also teasing us that something new is on the way. They're revealing a new multiplayer game next month, and all I could say is it looks pretty creepy. And speaking of multiplayer games, Ghost of Tabor is currently killing it. They have made $3 million in revenue before officially releasing on the Quest store, which we know most of the game's sales come from. This extraction shooter has managed to amass a huge following, and the general opinion of this game is overwhelmingly positive. While PC VR numbers alone generally don't mean much, the game is currently outperforming Pavlov, which is a pretty big statement. So when you have a great community and actually make a game that people want, it's definitely going to sell. I have this face on because in the back of my head, I'm currently thinking about Valve VR. Now, another VR shooter that didn't fare that well, Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, is officially shutting down its multiplayer servers on December 1st, which I completely understand because the game was just not very popular. Years back, this was a massive PC VR release, but even then, there was no one playing online. It was an impressive technological feat to shrink this game to fit down on the Quest 2, but it wasn't much of a looker and didn't run very well. And again, it never had a big multiplayer community, nor did it feature crossplay with the PC VR user. So to see it quietly shutting down now makes perfect sense. Now, while some games are shutting down, others are just getting started. Dragon Fist VR Kung Fu, which is basically VR's Mortal Kombat, is currently testing a brand new multiplayer mode, which you could download for free. I reviewed this game a while back and absolutely loved it, So I'm really curious to see how the multiplayer actually fares. If they could pull it off, this could be the must-have title for fighting game fans. Now another title to get a big new update is Smash Drums, which is introducing their AR mode, Smashed Reality. Soon you'll be able to bring that drum set and special effects into your own home, but I'm still not sold on AR. How does this actually make the game better? A fully closed environment feels way more immersive to me, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see on this one. But moving on to an update that truly matters, we now have foveated rendering for No Man's Sky on the PlayStation VR 2. No Man's Sky continues to be the comeback story of the decade. It went from a title that disappointed at release and only got much better as time went on. Now the latest foveated rendering update is addressing a major issue. The VR performance of this title was never spectacular, and luckily it's now been addressed, so you can fully enjoy this massive world. No Man's Sky has the highest replay value of almost any VR title, especially when you exclude social apps like VR Chat. So if you're looking for a lot to do in VR, definitely go check out No Man's Sky. Now continuing with some more good news for the PlayStation VR 2, we just got the release date for Vertigo 2. Starting in October, PlayStation VR 2 owners will finally get their hands on this amazing shooter. It's basically Half-Life meets Rick and Morty, and it's currently my favorite game of 2023. Now in our final gaming news story, Horizon Worlds is coming to smartphones. We recently got a glimpse at the beta, and it looks like Meta is dying to be Rec Room. Horizon Worlds was not only late to the party, but it's also still lacking when it comes to other titles like Rec Room. It's just not as good or fun to play. Meta is desperate to increase their player base, but I am actually all for blending traditional flat screen and VR modes because it helps get the word out about VR. When you cross flat screen and VR players who enjoy the same title, they're more likely to help sell the VR version to other gamers. So we'll wait and see what the overall impact of moving this to the smartphone actually is. And our final story of today you most likely heard already, and that's the leaked unboxing of the Quest 3. Here we go again. It happened with the Quest Pro, and now we're seeing with the Quest 3. And I know people are saying conspiracy, Meta does this on purpose, but I'm not going to get into that. I don't think that makes sense. I don't think that's what they're doing. It doesn't really build hype. There's way better ways to introduce your product. But moving on, what did we learn about the Quest 3? Not much. It's everything we expected, but we do have eye relief now, so you can move the lens closer and further away from your eye. Perfect if you wear eyeglasses. I don't know why you want to move it away. Otherwise, you're going to shrink your FOV, but that's great to have any new feature. There's the possibility the audio is updated or there's new fans on the side. We're not sure what some new openings are for. Everything else is what we expected. It does have a charging dock connector like the Quest Pro, but doesn't look like that's going to come included. And we don't know what's going to actually be on the sleeve of the container, you know, what games it's going to talk about at launch, if it's going to spill the beans on like a Quest 3 exclusive. Nope, none of that information. So we got a minor leak, again, low resolution. It's just reminding us that the product is getting closer. And the potential date, I believe, was October 10th, which could have leaked from somewhere else. Don't quote me on that one. It's most likely that's the date. Okay, guys, that was today's video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. And as always, I'll see you guys on next time.